Hi there. This is a lesson about 3 steps to playing better bar chords. And these 3 steps will help you get ready to play bar chords. And after taking these 3 steps, perhaps for some people, you will be able to just go ahead and play them. But if you don't take these 3 steps, playing bar chords is probably going to be quite challenging. So one concept we want to talk about is bar chords definitely going to demand your pinky to participate willingly and in a strong and coordinated way. So if you haven't used pinky much, it makes a lot of sense to make sure you spend some time. So step 1, getting ready to play better bar chords, is to make sure pinky gets some exercise. And let me just point out a few ways you can do that. If you've been looking at, I have a series about developing good guitar technique, and we talk about pinky there, but just real quick, in case you haven't seen those, we do an exercise where we keep pinky and ring finger close to each other, and then just do a little exercise where pinky gets to work right next to ring finger. These 2 fingers are kind of like one finger anatomically, and so when we're strengthening pinky, if you keep it close to this finger at first, that's a good way to start using pinky. I also just made a lesson that's called How to Make Pinky Stronger and Ready to Play Bar Chords, something like that. So look for that one. That one talks about how we can make sure in just our regular C, D, G chords, make sure that you know how to use pinky when you're playing those chords, and that gives pinky some really good exercise. If you're not using pinky while you're playing those chords, then it's probably not a good time to jump right into bar chords. So let's give pinky plenty of exercise. Now let's look at, so step 1, make sure pinky is strong and ready. Let's look at the 2 main parts of a bar chord. I'm going to do B minor for now. So we have the bar, and then we have the shape that goes right above the bar. I want to make sure you've noticed that this shape right here is the same shape. Look at your old familiar, hopefully you're familiar with the A minor chord down here in first position. Try to get it where you can see it. So this shape that you play for A minor, that's the same shape that you're making with these 3 fingers when you do B minor. So one way, we want to get these fingers, so we're talking about the 2 ways we have, or 2 parts of a bar chord. We have the bar, and then we have the shape of these fingers. Okay? So let's break it down and work on each part separately. This shape here, you can also make down here in first position. So instead of making A minor with these 3 fingers, we're going to make A minor with these 3 fingers. That might take a little while to wrap your head around that. So you might want to pause and just learn how to make, so that's my point. If those 3 fingers have trouble making the A minor shape, just that, it's going to be a little harder to combine it with the bar chord. So let's give these 3 fingers some practice. This is step 2. Getting these 3 fingers, just playing this shape. And I want to show you some fun ways to use this. You can make the shape down here in first position, which is just regular A minor. If you slide this up 2 frets, that's actually kind of a form of B minor, and it sounds kind of pretty if you include the 5th string. And then you can slide that 2 frets higher. And I'm still playing the open 5th string. So everything I just did is the same A minor shape. Sorry about the glare. I need to learn how to not have that. So just a quick review. We started with the regular A minor shape. We use these 3 fingers instead. And if we slide 2 frets higher, we get a nice sound. 2 frets higher. And when you come down here, you could also just lift this finger. I like the sound of just these two. It's just a nice sounding thing that you can play with to get these fingers used to making that shape. Now, remember how A minor looks, that's the same shape as E? This shape here is the shape you're going to make when you make a bar chord. That's the shape. Say if I go to F, these three fingers are making that same shape. So, same idea. Like say if you were making the F bar and took this shape down here, you would have the E shape. So instead of playing E shape like this with these three fingers, you're going to take these three fingers for your E shape. You might want to just pause it and get that figured out. Okay? That shape you can slide quite nicely and just have fun with that shape alone. I mean, of course you can play it with those fingers if you just want to have fun playing that shape, but we're getting ready to play bar chords. So that's why we're using these three. And if you take this shape and you slide it up to where your third finger is in the 7th fret, you have sort of an A chord. And if you go 2 frets higher, sort of a B, back to the 7th fret. And those are just fun, they make a nice sound. Okay, and that gives your three fingers a chance to get used to making that shape without the added pressure of performing in a bar chord. So that would be step 2. Step 3 is to spend time only the bar. We improve everything by focusing on one thing. So let's talk about just the bar part of the bar chord. I want to start with, okay. There's such a strong tendency to bar like this. I don't know why we love right angles so much, but most people, everybody is different, and you might find something different works for you, but most people really do better with not a straight finger here. Just, it's actually, I'm moving this so you can see, it's kind of, when you practice, don't throw your fingers out like that, but I want you to see the shape of this finger. It's kind of like a hook. Not a gnarly hook, just this kind of bends a little bit, okay? So I'm just moving these fingers so you can see it, okay? And now something to remember is when you make your bar chord, these three fingers are going to be squeezing string 2, 3, and 4. So your bar does not have to worry about string 2, 3, and 4, especially on the minor chord. Your bar only has to get the 5th string and the 1st string. So lay your finger down, okay, with a little bit of a curve. This side of your finger is what you want to use, okay, the side of your finger. And just see if you can get the 5th string and the 1st string. 5th string, 1st string. And just work on that for a while. If you can get the 5th string and the 1st string, that's all you need for your bar chord. In case you go ahead and put it together, I think it's a good idea to do this part first. Keep the weak fingers lined up with a nice straight wrist. Get those down and then reach with your bar. Okay? Don't make the bar and then try to put these fingers down. It will make everything weaker. Now, one more thing about the whole bar. So you might also try barring to the 6th string. Now when you make your major bar chord shape with this shape on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th string, then you do have the 1st and 2nd strings are going to want to be barred. But I think it's important when you're new at it to just not worry about it if the 2nd string is a little bit if it's not coming through cleanly. A good thing to experiment with, everybody's, especially when we get into this, everybody's hand is so different. And some people find that, I want you to experiment with how high, like moving your finger, I'm going to exaggerate, moving this barring finger down or up, just, it can make a big difference how far down or up it is. Because on your finger you have these, where the joints are, you have kind of like an indentation there, and where the fat of your fingers is. It can just make a big difference. So some people will get better bars with their finger a little more up or a little more down. So experiment with that when you start putting things together. So let's see, do we cover the 3 steps? Strengthen pinky, do this shape alone, do the bar alone. Those are 3 steps that are going to help a lot. And I've mentioned this before, but let me just mention it again. It can make a big difference when you're doing your bar chords if you get your guitar in classical position. You can put your left leg up on a stool, prop your guitar on your left leg. It can make it so much easier. And then once you get your bar chord here, for some reason, it's easier to repeat the result when you bring your guitar down level. And then another thing that helps a lot is to experiment with your location. Don't get stuck on playing F. A lot of times it's much more difficult to play your bar chord in the first position than it is up here. So experiment with different positions when you put the different parts together, and you might find a position where it's easier. And then once you get the hang of it, higher up on the neck, you might find it easier to play down there. So I hope that helps. Let me know how it goes. And if you're not on my email list, please go to www.everyonecanjam.com, sign up for my email list, because I put things there that I don't put anywhere else. I'll see you later. Bye.